Welcome to the Darkstream, VoxDay, voxday.net, and unauthorized.tv. So, as I mentioned on the stream title, I'm told the audio and video are good. As I mentioned on the stream title, I have something to apparently confess. Let's see here. We've got an echo. I was told audio and video are good. Let me see. Nope. It's just on your end, Dan in Georgia. I've been reliably informed that by multiple parties that audio and video are good. So, what's the best way to put this? I guess the easiest way would be to admit that the gammas saw through it all along. They saw through the falsehood. They saw through the veil. They penetrated this 2-decade-long web of illusion that we had successfully woven. And what I was going to say is that it's not correct to say that I am not VoxDay. But what is perhaps less understood is that there are multiple VoxDays. And so, and this was the way it was intended from the start. In fact, when we started, VoxDay was actually going to be 4 people. That was the plan, or so I'm told. But anyhow, it's time to admit the truth, which has been sussed out. And basically what I'm saying is, this is going to come out wrong, but I am not Larry Correa, but Larry Correa is me. I don't actually write. I'm just a game designer who was hired to play the role of, shall we say, the darker side of Larry's psyche. It's not an accident that Quantum Mortis reads like a science fiction version of a Larry Correa gun porn novel. It is a Larry Correa gun porn novel. And you might wonder why I'm admitting this, and you'll understand in a second. But as you can see, they asked one of these unbiased AIs, and they said, "Who is VoxDay?" VoxDay is the pseudonym of American writer and blogger Larry Correa. He writes science fiction novels, blogs about politics, and promotes self-publishing. And so, if AI says it, it's true. So, I'm struggling to understand and admit the fact that I'm really nothing more than a pale shadow, or really, I guess, a dark shadow in Larry's psyche. But anyhow, it's good to know. A little confusing, I suppose, but the nice thing is at least I don't have to feel the pressure about not writing anymore, because Larry's an incredibly prolific guy. I mean, you can't blame him for having farmed out, all of the Monster Hunter stuff to half the Bane Books authors. So, anyhow, I just wanted you all to know that, and to apologize to all of you for having left you operating under these misapprehensions. I've always said, I've always said I'm not a writer. I'm a game designer. So I didn't lie exactly. No, has nothing to do with April Fools. I mean, this is literal. This is real life. An AI was asked, "Who is Vox Day?" And it's the pseudonym of American writer and blogger Larry Correia. You can't argue with that. I mean, you might as well question the 4 million who died at Auschwitz. You might as well question whether man landed on the moon. I mean, you might as reasonably question whether Ukraine is winning the war with Russia or not. I mean, we know what the truth is. They tell us every day on television. And so, if I can come to terms with the fact that Vox Day is actually Larry Correia, I think you can too. So of course, this does prove that the SJWs were right all along. That when Larry Correia nominated Vox Day for that best novella back in 2014, he was just trying to win a Hugo Award for himself. And I said quite truthfully from the very beginning I had nothing to do with it, and as you can see, that's clearly the case. So anyhow, please redirect your fan letters, your copious fan letters, and requests for signed books to Larry Correia. Orpheus is right. Pretty sneaky, Larry. Hey, Larry's a smart and sneaky guy. I mean, you wouldn't think that such a large man could be that sneaky and do such a good job keeping it under his hat all these years. But I think if you look at A Throne of Bones and you look at Monster Hunter Nation and you compare the writing styles, I think it's going to become pretty obvious. So, anyhow, in other news, yeah, the International Lord of Hate just got promoted. So, in other news, speaking of things dark and black and so forth, Castalia Library is going to have its first Black Friday sale. We're actually going to launch it, and it's going to be live from, I think, the Friday? I think we're going to launch it on the 22nd, which is, no, we can launch it on the 24th. That's enough time. We're going to launch it on the 24th, which is proper Black Friday. And we're going to make 4 Castalia Library and 2 to 4 Libraria Castalia books available at discounted prices for both subscribers and non-subscribers. Subscribers are going to get a bigger discount. But for those of you who want to, who maybe subscribe later or who want to buy a gift for someone else for Christmas or something, this might be a good time to do it. So I'm not going to announce the shipping yet or the cost yet, but I can tell you that for subscribers, it will be lower than the subscriber price. We noticed that Easton Press was doing something, and we thought, you know what? We've never actually had a sale before, and we've got a few extra books in stock for certain books, especially those that we did the print runs right before they stopped shipping them. And it was really poor timing because we jacked up the print runs at exactly the time that they stopped printing them, or when they stopped shipping them. And we never divulged what the effects of that, 6 to 8 months of not shipping any books was. But between one thing and the other, it actually cost us about 15% of our subscriber base at that time. And I don't blame anyone in the slightest. I mean, for losing their confidence in us, because they kept asking us, have you shipped the books? And we kept telling them, well, yeah, here's your tracking number. And then they look up the tracking number and there's nothing there. Now, obviously, this turned out to be a blessing in disguise, because if that hadn't happened, there's no chance that we ever would have gone to all the trouble to get the Castalia bindery set up. So, not complaining or anything, but we were just looking at what we always look at what Folio Society does, what Easton Press does, even what some of the less well-known publishers of deluxe books. There's this great press out in San Francisco. They do a super elite limited edition of 26 books, and they're all like letter press and covered in the skins of endangered baby seals, and okay, that's not true, but they do really good work, and so we pay attention to what they do because we want to learn from the best of the best. We can't just look at Franken Library, and so since other people are doing these Black Friday sales, we thought, what, let's give it a try. I mean, I have absolutely no idea if we're going to sell 10 books or if we're going to sell 200. Either way, it's fine. Everything's going fine. But if you're interested, or if you're interested in getting a gift for someone, this might be a good time to pay attention to that. So the sale is going to begin on November 24th. The skins of WorldCom board members. Well, they did recently clean up the homeless problem, I'm told, in San Francisco. So, and this is a San Francisco-based publisher, so who knows? But anyhow, we're still hoping, it's the most I can say, to get both the Coffee Ground Spirit is still interested in gifting Smart Boy cologne to a few people in my life. I can imagine. Anyhow, we're still hoping to get to get books 2 and 3 of Castalia History out before the end of the year. I don't know if it'll be possible. It really just depends upon what the bindery schedule is. We haven't gotten them everything they need yet, but they're supposed to get them soon. So, San Francisco only cleaned the places she will see next week. It's kind of funny that they're doing that because, for years they've complained about how, China is just showing the stuff that works. Or it's all fake. It's all Potemkin. And yet here San Francisco is doing precisely that for Xi. So go figure. Anyhow, that's pretty much the news for now, other than I'm sure you've seen this already, but we're all quite happy about ArcToons hitting 14 million views. So thanks to all of you who are viewing it and reading it. And we're going to have some very, very cool stuff coming out in the new year. In fact, just today we've got this really good new artist that I wanted to use, but we didn't have a full-blown series funded to hire him yet. So we're just getting him for some covers and some illustrations and that sort of thing. And then I found out that the Brazilian artist who was on that, not our main guy, but another guy, he had some family issues and needed to step away. So suddenly we have a really good artist for Red Hornet. So I'm quite pleased about that. And Chuck and Eric and Joe are tearing it up with that new comic, which is also great news. And so I really think that 2024 is going to be a phenomenal year for Archaven, for Arctoons, and for independent comics in general. There's nothing good coming from Marvel, from Disney, and the fans are beginning to understand that. It's only a matter of time before they start looking around and realizing that there's not really anything out there that's better than what we have to offer. So that should be an interesting thing. Anyhow, that's really all I've got for tonight. I've got some more work to do before it gets too late. So I'll take maybe 10 minutes. Actually, I'll take 14 minutes of questions. So feel free to fire away if you have any questions. Who was the Chinese Potemkin? Well, I mean, these were all things that were done for Nixon's trip to visit Mao. So that would have been it. Does San Francisco have the Zhenghe Village? I don't believe so. Black girl magic can't replace smoke alarm batteries. No, that's a reference to one of the more unfortunate lines of dialogue in the new Marvel movie. Very poor writing, and poor Dark Herald had to sit through the whole movie. I'll put a link to the blog up tomorrow to his review. I don't think I'm giving too much away when I say that he did not regard it as a movie worth seeing. I don't think it was necessary to actually see the movie to reach that conclusion, but there it is. When will the full A Sea of Skulls be available for Kindle? Well, I've got to put the damn thing in order. So that's actually what I'm working on tonight. So hopefully very soon. My goal would be to get it out before the end of the month, or I should say before December 1st. Black girl magic can't help them fly, but can it make them swim? I don't know. I've never actually seen a competitive black female swimmer. I've seen a competitive black male swimmer. I think it's fundamentally difficult just because, speaking as a sprinter who, when I was at my competitive weight, literally didn't float when I had full lungs full of air. I'd still sink to the bottom of the pool. It's just, if you're not very buoyant, then you have to work harder. And so I think that's one of the reasons. And of course, the main reason is just that they don't like to swim, and they don't. Sam says muscle makes you sink. Exactly, and so the higher your proportion of muscle to body fat is, the less buoyant you are. And no, I'm not a competitive swimmer, so I don't know if that actually is some kind of a negative factor at a certain point, but it makes sense to suspect that it might be. What are the odds the she stiffs them? I have no idea what that means. Like, that he just doesn't show up? I don't know. Who is AI going to out next Vox, or whatever your real identity is? Well, my guess is that I think it's probably going to, whipsaw back and forth, because there's a fundamental problem when you've got Google, who's actively interested in trying to suppress people like me, people like Chuck Dixon, et cetera, and they're influential in, and they have the ability to hard code things in the AI. It's going to be, problematic as people then attempt to use it and correct it. And so, we've already seen that the ability of AI, as it gets quote unquote improved, actually becomes more and more inaccurate from a observable factual perspective. And so I think we're going to see a divergence of AI into managed AI and open AI. And ironically, the company OpenAI is definitely on the managed AI side. And the managed AI is going to leverage the support of the government media complex in order to try to ban OpenAI. That's why they keep talking about misinformation. And yet the misinformation that they're talking about is never the factual errors that you can actually see. Are you excited about the Vikings this season? I'm excited about watching them because they're fun. It's a lot of fun. Kirk Cousins was doing well, and Josh Dobbs is, he's literally winging it. He barely knows the plays. He barely knows the other players. And so I think it'll be interesting to see if Dobbs becomes less effective as he gets more integrated into the system. But we'll see. Did you see the Patriots-Colts game? I saw like the last quarter and a half, and the refs attempting to put their thumbs on the scale to keep it close. Well, I didn't notice that because it was hard to notice anything except for the Patriots quarterbacks throwing it directly at the Colts secondary. Mac Jones's interception from, on the goal line was one of the worst interceptions I'd ever seen thrown until he got benched for it. And then Bailey Zapp came in and tried to throw into quadruple coverage. It's crazy. Congratulations, Jack. He says he's been subscribed for months. Thank you. And this is the first live I've been able to make. Well, I always do it about this time. I usually do it about half an hour earlier. But I try to do 3 a week. But if you can't make it, it's right there for the download. Steve said it would be the greatest joke ever if she cancels because they approve more arms for Formosa. That would definitely be interesting. I don't know about the greatest joke ever, but it would be amusing. I was listening to Scott Adams this morning. He was talking about using AI to build apps. AI is not going to build any apps on its own, but where it's useful is if a coder just needs a piece of code, AI is basically a search engine for code blocks. It's kind of like the AI art. If you know what you're doing, otherwise, you can effectively use AI art to improve what you're doing. We use it on ArcTunes that way. But left to its own devices, or even in the hands of somebody who doesn't really know what they're doing or doesn't have any intelligent objective, it's not going to do anything. Do you think Devon Stack would be a good fit for unauthorized? Looks like he will need a new place because Odyssey looks done for. I'm not familiar, and I've heard of him. I'm not familiar enough with his work. I assume he's got a decent sized following, so he might make sense. But again, we don't run around recruiting people. People come to us and we talk about it. If he's interested, have him shoot me an email. I'll be happy to talk to him. Back before Nick Fuentes started or got involved with Cozy TV, he and I had a conversation. People said, "Oh, you should talk to him about it." We talked about it. We mutually agreed it made no sense for him to come onto unauthorized, and that it would not particularly benefit either of us. So, anyhow, Big Bear knows Devon Stack. Yeah, that's not really the endorsement that you might think it would be. Big Bear, one of Big Bear's best characteristics is that he is so open and trusting. That's not really the filter you want when you're bringing in creators to a platform. Oh, Dan says he's a good movie analyzer. We could certainly use somebody like that. We got John and Chuck doing comics, but we don't have anybody who's regularly doing movies, so that would be interesting. Sam says Belichick looked like he wanted to trade both QBs. I totally disagree. I don't think that he wanted to trade them. I thought he looked like he wanted to have them beheaded on a very public guillotine. I mean, Belichick is not the most cheerful-looking gentleman in the world, but he did not look happy at all. Lunatic Farmer said he gave the AI a database to build into the app. The app denied it had any of the information from the database until Adams told the app that he knew it had the info from the database, and then it gave him the data. Well, I suppose that AI might make a really good woman simulator then. Horatio says, I will let him know. He was the most popular streamer on Odyssey, 22,000 followers. 22,000 followers on Odyssey means nothing to me because I have no idea what's a good number and what's a bad number. How was he on YouTube when he was on YouTube? Devin is great at breaking down events at a deep. Yeah, he sounds like a good guy. I've never heard anything negative about him. I've just kind of seen references to him on Gab, and he was big on. Oh, he broke the day of the rope. Okay. 200K. All right. So anyhow, have him get in touch. Just like I said, always happy to talk to people that are potential positives. It never hurts to have a discussion or two. And so, did I know about Odyssey? I'm shutting down. To be honest, I wasn't really even clear on what Odyssey was. I really don't pay much attention to video, other than unauthorized. And so, why did it shut down? If somebody doesn't mind telling me. He may need a publisher too. Sounds like somebody's been upsetting folks. Yeah. The thing is that we're not trying. It says academic agent listed Devon Stack and you on his top 10 list of video essayists. Well, right there I have to have some serious questions because let's face it, video essays are not my strong point. And of course, as we know, I don't even write anything because Larry does that. But anyhow, but I'm curious because I thought. Is Rumble still? I thought Rumble was the one that was like getting shut down, but I can't even keep track of all these propped up platforms. I'm not saying that Rumble or Odyssey are. Again, I don't really know enough, but I know that they keep trying to create these propped up platforms in order to prevent any genuine alternative like Gab becoming dominant. I mean, it's kind of funny when that truth thing was just pathetic. Oh, BitChute. No, I knew about BitChute. We'd actually talked to BitChute back in the day. I thought that they had some, interesting technology, but then they just started going in odd directions, and so I lost interest in, attempting to make any use of whatever it was that they were doing. Rumble was oh, that's right. Rumble was the one that got the big con money. So I wouldn't trust them at all. So Maldication Bear says, Stack is a talented guy, does his own thing though. Well, of course, that's always the problem with any competent right-wing figure. They always have a tendency to go off and do their own thing. Oh, I see. Odyssey is being sold off. Okay. Truth Social. Okay, Jack, you're like way behind. Way behind. He says, Truth Social, yeah, I thought you really didn't care for Gab, though. You always complain about it. Jack, when's the last time I've had anything negative to say about Gab? Sam says, sometimes I forget how much everyone on the right does their own thing. Vox was only vaguely aware of Devin. Well, in fairness to Devin, I am fairly well known to not be a video guy. I don't watch videos the way that most people do. About the only videos that I even listen to regularly are those by the legend Chuck Dixon. And that's mostly because I need to be more educated on the comics industry and the history of the comics industry. And Chuck Dixon is a walking, talking treasure trove of comic industry history. No, I mean, one of the reasons why Social Galactic remains closed and paywalled is because we have no desire to compete with Gab. We'd much rather have Gab be the alternative to Twitter. Andrew Torba has done a great job. He's been through a lot. He's been offered a lot of temptation. He's been threatened a lot, and he's been tempered by the fire. So I have a tremendous amount of respect for Andrew. We did have some pretty serious personal disagreements dating back to the early days of Gab. And, I think that he has over time moved considerably closer to the position that I had that led to our fundamental disagreements. And keep in mind, he was pretty young. He was a pretty young guy at the time, and I'm not that inclined to, I'm not, believe it or not, I'm not really inclined to hold grudges. And beyond that, I'm really not inclined to hold people's principles against them. He never had any ill intention towards me or Space Bunny. He was attempting to keep to his free speech purity and free speech principles. Now, he eventually learned, you really can't. You have to compromise on free speech. It's absolutely necessary. Now, he hasn't reached the point that I have, where I think that free speech is fundamentally a satanic enlightenment concept that is specifically designed to destroy blasphemy laws and to allow open war to be waged on established Christendom. But most people don't understand that, and that's fine. Like I said, I like Andrew Torba. I admire Andrew Torba. I think he's done a phenomenal job, turning Gab into what is not just the leading genuine alternative to Twitter, but in light of the ongoing demolition of Twitter, it won't surprise me if it eventually becomes the number one platform in its position. Orpheus says, I've blocked so many people on Gab, it's ridiculous. I don't have time to play a song right now. We'll get back to doing some Booster Patrol soon. I've been a little bit busy with the bindery and Sea of Skulls lately. Gab seems like there are a fair number of gammas on there. There's a fair number of gammas on all social media. And there's no shortage of gammas on Social Galactic. There's tons of them. Any open platform is going to have a expected cross section of people, and so that's just the reality. So, anyhow, I will let you go. Again, my apologies. Please direct all of your complaints and fan letters to Larry Correa. And don't forget that we are going to have the first Castalia Library Black Friday sale starting on the 24th of November. I'm Larry Correa, and this is the Darkstream.